It is May 1st. It's May Day, and it's also May Day protests. They're calling it May Day Strong, where millions of people across America will participate in these protests. They're calling for an economic blackout, no work, no school, and no shopping to protest Donald Trump and the billionaire takeover.
Yeah, this is overall the biggest story is the whole Democrats feel that way. This is a version of socialism, communism. That's what they're doing. I mean, they celebrate this in China and Russia. Now they celebrate it because that's the Democrats. They feel as though the problem in America are rich people.
Yeah, this is a direct result of what's happening on the college campuses, even in high school, where they're teaching these kids not that if you grew up in poverty, you can make it in this country, get a good job, get a good education from the ground up. They're taking, you can just steal it from the people that did the hard work and have wealth redistribution. And there's a whole list of candidates. It used to be just Crazy Bernie. Now Crazy Bernie has a whole squad of people that support it.
500 events, New York City, D.C., Chicago, Los Angeles, Minneapolis. Tax the rich, no ICE, no war. No school, no work, no shopping. That's the goal.
Potentially hundreds of kids will be allowed to take a field trip to a May Day rally in Union Park during that school day. Last year's May Day rally in Union Park brought together thousands of people speaking out in opposition to the policies of the Trump administration. According to the agreement between Chicago Public Schools and the Chicago Teachers Union, CPS will provide buses for field trips of students and educators to attend the 1 p.m. May Day rally in Union Park this year.
Wow, folks, we got a lot to bring you tonight on this and more. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you all as you watch this broadcast. It's time for Pop and Politics. I'm KJ. Let me introduce you to my co-hosts. Of course, we have Nicole Bennett.
Hey, family.
And Shelly E.
Hi, everybody.
All right. So before we get started, before we go in, folks, come on in, do your part, tap that thumbs up, smash that subscribe button, and turn on your notifications. We are live on YouTube and Rumble. If you're on the go, you can catch us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify under the name Pop and Politics. We love our chat. And Momo, if you're watching, we're wearing our lipstick tonight for you. At least I am. So, folks, we love our chat. We shout out every super chat. So drop your thoughts, show your love, and join the conversation that the mainstream media wishes didn't exist. Folks, this is not just a podcast. It's a movement of God-fearing, truth-seeking, America-loving people that value freedom. So stand with us and subscribe so we can amplify this rallying call for freedom. All right, ladies, let's set it off. So today is the infamous May Day. All right. And the left has taken this and has used this to really go full in on Marxism, communism, and now they're linking in the students with it. Shelly, what are your thoughts on what we just saw? We got a lot more to bring to you all.
It's unbelievable. But they talked about the economic indicators or the economic blackout. Let me tell you what the real economic blackout is. Black people still at the bottom of the damn economic scale. That's what the economic blackout is. That is exactly what it is. And your education system and your educators are purposefully dumbing you down to continue to be at the bottom of the damn pole, whatever that may be.
Right. Yeah. Before I get you in on this, Nicole, take a look at this next clip. This is Fox News, Mark Thiessen, and he's basically calling out these Marxist May Day protests. This is clip 9.
No work, no school, no shopping. That was the Democrats' COVID policy. As far as I recall, that's what they tried to do to all of America for the entire pandemic. But look, because of the learning losses in the pandemic, 21% of Chicago students are proficient in math and 27% are proficient in reading, which means that if the Chicago teachers wanted to have them read the Communist Manifesto, which apparently they do, they wouldn't be able to read it. So if you want to take the Soviet National Day off to March, go ahead, but you shouldn't be teaching American kids.
Yeah. Nicole, I mean, this is crazy.
You know, it's worse than crazy. It's like we continue to feed the same monster that's trying to kill us, right? Children need to be in school for a myriad of reasons, especially some of these children who live in urban areas and inner city areas. They need to be in school for some because these are the meals they're going to get for the day. They need to be in school because these are the adults that provide parameters for them, right? When you take them out to participate in marches, they don't necessarily, in most cases, agree with the march. It's just a day out of school. It's a day out of school where they don't have to be responsible for any of their work. They get to hang around with their friends. You know, what's shameful about it is the very people that we entrust to educate our children are not only indoctrinating them behind the scenes, now they're doing it in our faces. They're doing it in our faces and saying, who's going to check me, boo? And guess what we're doing? Not a damn thing. The kids are marching up and down the street. They're not getting what they need from this public education system. School boards around the country are still running roughshod over Democrat candidates. This is a whole mess that we've got to unwind. At this point, I would be surprised if anybody graduates from college that turns out to be a decent American citizen when the indoctrination starts so young in their educational career.
Yeah, I mean, what the hell is going on with these teachers? Now, we have seen many of these activists, these unhinged leftists have turned out to be teachers. Honestly, it's between teachers and nurses. I mean, this is crazy. But the teachers are the ones that have been leading many of these unhinged protests, this demonic and loony agenda. Okay. So let's talk about what this May Day is, okay? Because first of all, what's the difference between this and Labor Day? Do you ladies? Because I never really knew much about May Day. Now I know Labor Day was generally about, workers and laboring. Am I wrong about that?
It's something they done made up.
Thank you.
That's it.
Yeah.
So May Day is celebrated internationally in places where they struggle with second and third world issues. It's never been a thing in the United States because, these kids, again, they're walking around with their $3,000 cell phones in their pocket, protesting against the tyranny of having parents that can afford the $3,000 damn cell phone in their pockets. It doesn't ring true here. Anytime the Democrats feel slighted, they're going to throw a protest. Anytime. And on the heels of this Supreme Court, they call it a defeat. I call it a victory. On the heels of that ruling, understanding that, they thought they did their big one with Virginia in the redistricting and Florida said, hold my beer. They don't really have too much legs to stand on. But what they're doing is gilding the lily for generations to come. What we should be doing is raising young patriots. What they're doing is raising more activists, raising more lunatics. Because if you took a poll of the kids who went out there to protest, they would not be able to tell you the history of May Day. They would not be able to tell you the reasons why they're out there. What they would say, it's Friday and I don't have to go to school. It's Friday and I get to walk in this march and be on TV.
Or they would say something, they would connect it to Donald Trump.
Right.
So they
I don't
say,
like the president.
Right. Out here protesting the agenda and the policies of Trump. They would probably say something about ICE. And as you mentioned, this was an international event or day initially, started back in the late 1800s. And then by Soviet era, became a full-blown propaganda. So Red Square parades with tanks, missiles, proletariat triumph vibes. The U.S. pushed back hard with a loyalty day and law day to counter what we're seeing here is a commie holiday. And then as some conservatives have then, have been pushing back against it as well. But this day has been taken over by many of the teachers unions. The teachers unions have taken over this day and called it this no school, no work, no shopping day as of today. But I mean, this thing is really just about a leftist worship fest of collectivism over individuality. This is what it is. And that's not American.
Yeah.
They don't care that it's not American. Again, and also let's add to that the symbolism of the phrase Mayday means distress. It's
Yes.
it's a distress call used in the air, on the war field, things like that. Mayday, Mayday. So that's what they're doing. They're saying that this whole system is basically basically a call to action. There's so much going on. They need to call this. They need to make a distress call. But it's interesting that these teachers and the teachers unions, again, let me repeat. Teachers unions tell you who they work for. The teachers, not the students. Okay, that's number one. They're teachers unions. Number two, these teachers, by and large, get about $80,000 or more on average. Plus benefits. Most of them probably get three months off every year, plus professional days, holidays, spring break, sabbaticals, depending on the level where you are, but they get all this included, and yet these bastards, these ingrates, these ignoramuses have the nerve to say Mayday, Mayday, and they are teaching this to their students, their mentees, if you will, and this is why we see so many of these young people literally going off the rails. They have no grounding, whether it's moral or even intellectual. They don't have it. They certainly don't have professional skills so that they can go into that marketplace where they're calling distress and make money, learn how to connect and learn from the billionaires. But no, they'll go and spend all of their damn earnings, like Nicole said, on the $3,000 phones, the Nike tennis shoes, or whatever brand you want to throw in there. And they want to look good, but they can't think, can't read, can't spell, can't do basic math. But their teachers are calling this a Mayday.
Right. And they're teaching them to hate America. They're teaching them to hate the idea of how we as Americans, the founders, built prosperity, but we built it on hard work, innovation, free markets. These teachers, these radical nuts, are teaching them to hate all of that, including marriage, including gender roles, all of it. They're teaching them to hate it because, as we know, Marxism is wrapped in, it's not just the whole economic situation that they hate. They hate anything about with tradition, anything marriage, family, all of that they hate. And this is what they're teaching them to push back against. Folks, please sound off in the chat and let us know what you think. I see we have a couple super chatters here.
All right, you Maydayers out there, we call it Mayday because we want your pops, your chats, so that we won't have to be distressed. We see Kung Fu CJ, $5 super chat. Also, Kung Fu is one of our mods, our longtime mods there, and a member of our Freedom Seekers Club. Thank you. Hello, Kung Fu CJ. Hello, PAP family. It's time for Shelly to cuss someone out. I might do it later because I'm sick of these bastards. I'm sick of them.
Indeed.
I'm sick of them. Tam G, thank you for gifting 10 Pop in Politics memberships. Thank you so much, Tam G. Also, Tam G, again, thank you for your $20. Tam says, love you, ladies. Thank you for everything you do. May God bless you and your families. I love this show so much. Me and you, Nicole, we need to get together. Shelly, this is the girl that you had the phone call with in January.
Oh.
I don't know. What phone call? You got to refresh me, okay? Tell me if I cuss you out or not. I don't know.
No.
And January was a long time ago for us. It was a long time.
I don't even remember last week, but thank you, Tam, for that. This is Dante. Thank you for your $10 super chat. Dante says, Latino from Texas showing some love. Hi, from Texas. You ladies are awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Tam G is back. Is that another gift? Another gift 10 membership. Thank you so much,
That's
Tam
amazing.
G. Yeah, thank you so much. And we have one from Josh. Josh says, unfortunately, it is no longer competitive to become a teacher. Thank you, Josh. You're right. So we literally get the work. Can I read that? Thank you. Yeah. We literally get the worst parasites in the world taking over and indoctrinating our kids. Yes. And Josh, you know what? I mean, we can be upset, but parents are just giving them.
That's what I was going to say. We're just handing our children over again. I've said it earlier this week. Children do not belong to the school system. They do not belong to these teachers. When the teachers say my students, no, you mean my child. The children belong to their parents. it's one thing if the parents, send their kids off to boarding school and the kids are there 24/7, 365. That's a little bit of a different story. But you have your kid in the morning, you have your kid in the evening, you got your kid on the weekend, and you're listening to what your children say. When they start to sound like leftist lunatics, like they're going to put on some kind of furry outfit and make you call them a cat, you got some problems. You may need to make some alternative choices in your children's education. And hey, if you can't afford to pull them out of public school, then you need to educate them at home to counteract what they're getting in the classroom.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Tam responded real quick. Okay, Tam said I spoke with her about. Okay.
Yes,
thank
we
you, Tam.
remember.
I'm glad I'm glad I was scared. I didn't know what I said to you. But thank you, Tam, for your $5. She said it was about helping a woman who had PCOS and endometriosis. Okay, polycystic ovarian syndrome. Okay, thank you, Tam. I'm glad. I hope I was able to help a little bit. So at least point you in the right direction.
Nice. And we had another one, I believe, or it was okay.
Kung Fu CJ, thank you for your $5. My grandmother was a teacher, and this is foreign to me.
Yeah, well, there are some fantastic teachers. Make no mistake. I know Hillsdale does a K through 12 program, K through 12 schools. That's classic education. You have academies in New York City run by Ian Rowe. Again, classic education. All of these kids are following the success sequence. So there are going to be some children that hopefully survive this foolishness. But when we think about the public school system, the school system that we fund, they're literally taking our money to turn our children against us. We try to build our kids up. You send them to school and they get taken apart brick by brick. And we're the ones paying for the bricks. This is how ridiculous the system is.
It really is. And they are literally teaching them this degeneracy. Take a look at this next clip. This is what the teachers unions are demanding that preschoolers be shown today because they have created this May Day curriculum. This is clip 8.
Also obtain the detailed CPS curriculum ahead of the May Day activities. It includes this suggestion for preschool to grades 2. Quote, to show 2 or 3 kid-friendly photos of protests. Notice signs, how people seem to be feeling. We asked CPS parent Joe Williams what he thinks.
At 3 years old, no, that child should be in school learning and being educated so he or she can be where they need to be to get to that next level.
For older high school students, there are lessons about ICE violating rights, and students are asked, quote, what hardships are people in your community facing since Trump was reelected last November? And who is responsible for the situation we are in?
Wow. I told you, it all goes back to Trump. They are using this day, this opportunity to just push their agenda. This is what they're doing. I mean, folks, we're going to get into the funding behind this, but most of these teachers unions, okay, they're almost 100%. Now, I know, Shirley, you say not most things are 100, almost pretty close to 100%.
99.9.
Right. Their campaign contributions from the American Federation of Teachers go to Democrats. From 1996 to 2024, it's been 99.9% or 99.3%. Folks, this is money laundering. Nicole, what are your thoughts? You saw that curriculum.
Of course, the curriculum reads like a communist manifesto because this is who's teaching our children. And what's so ridiculous about the whole thing is that when you see these teachers union snippets, when they have their meetings and their conferences, they don't hide how they feel. They don't have any cut cards. They tell you right off the top, a straight Democrat ticket, make no mistake, a straight Democrat ticket, and people who don't fall in line will get left behind. They have no qualms about it. Randy Weingarten would stand at the microphone and jump up and down like she was on a trampoline, screaming at the top of her voice. They took her quote unquote passion to be truth. No, what it is a communist saying, give me your money, give me your money and I'll make it good for all of us. And the sad thing is these are the very same teachers union, how we ended up with Wes Moore. And what did he give them? The blueprint. So we have teachers starting at $90,000 a year and kids who can't make change of a 10.
Mm.
This
Yeah.
is what we got.
Right. Shelly, I want to ask you something. Do you believe that the majority of parents understand and acknowledge or understand and realize what these teachers, the agenda behind these teachers, that they are actually teaching children this stuff? Do you think that they understand or they realize that this is what's going on? They're being indoctrinated.
So no, I don't think they understand what the implications are. They bring home these papers, they read them, the parents might read them, but they think it's okay. They think it's innocent. They think they're learning social studies and how to be empathetic and have emotional intelligence. That's number one. So I would say it's 50-50 in that way. So there's some ignorance there on the parents' part, and certainly ignorance as far as the consequences. Number one. Number two, these people, these teachers have I don't even know the word. They have taken over, if you will, the minds of these students from a very young age, to the point that parents think that teachers know best and not parents. I want to add something to that man. I know he meant well, so I'm not here to to beat him down. He said the 3-year-olds should be in school. No, they shouldn't. 3-year-olds should be with their parents.
Exactly.
3-year-olds should be with their parents 90% of the time, at home or wherever. They should be with their parents, learning basic things at home, colors, ABCs, having fun at home, taking naps, putting poop on their face, whatever the case may be. 3-year-olds should be doing things like that. They should not be in a structured classroom from 8 in the morning till 5 or 3. No, they should not. That's too long for a 3-year-old to be away from his or her parents, or certainly, their nuclear family, grandma, aunts, or whatever. No, they shouldn't. 3-year-olds should be in the loving hands of their parents and their family caretakers. That's where a 3-year-old needs to be. There's a lot of people who are mistaken, and I think they mean well, but they're mistaken. If you put a child in school too soon, that's not good either. Typically, children are not ready for all day school until about 5 or 6, depending on the maturity of the child. But we want to just give them out, have them and give them out to everybody else. No, they shouldn't. 3-year-olds should not be in school. I don't care if you don't agree with me. I don't care if you don't like it. It's just the facts.
Now, let me ask you this, and I want to get your opinion on this, Nicole, because I know you're saying it's true. I want to just push back on it a little bit, because when we look at other countries, particularly China, and Japan, actually, which they are much farther advanced when it comes to education, when it comes to technology than the West. And those children are in school much earlier than we are here, than our children are. In China, those kids are, I think it starts at age 3. They're in small classes. They're structured. Now, again, it's not all, learning and things like that, but a lot of it is doing exercises, PE. They do take naps, but there is an academic structural, way of it. And many people, and they're much farther advanced than we are. We see that in our own schools. Chinese, Japanese students do far better than a lot of American students, and they start out far earlier. So what do you say to that?
Well, those quote unquote children belong to the state. Those children belong to the state. The parents get to put them to bed at night, but those children belong to the state. The way their communities are structured are not like our communities. They don't enjoy the freedoms that we enjoy. It's a completely different structure. So when the child is born to the parents, it actually belongs to the state. So when the state says 3-year-olds need to go to school, and they begin their indoctrination early. Now, the part that most people never hear about these high performing, high schoolers and stuff in China, they crash out after college. And I mean, crash out with suicide, alcohol, drugs. And many of them will tell you they are viciously unhappy in their lives. Most of them try to come here looking for the happiness that's supposed to come with success. But your success in these kind of, and especially in China, is only as high as the state allows you to go. It's very different than it is here. So the onus is to be the best. Everybody's fighting to be number one. So what happens when you're number 3? Or 18 or 24? Somebody's got to be the guy making the shrimp fried rice. Somebody's got to be the guy giving the massages. Not everybody can be number one. Here in the United States, we take 27, 156, 3,018, and they all have the same opportunity to succeed, not just at one point in their life, but many, many, many times across their lifespan. It's a very different culture. Here, what they're trying to do is have children bond early with the state, because then they can tell them what to think. Then they can tell them what to do. Pushback from parents should be 3-year-olds need to be bonding with their family. Remember, they've only been here for 3 years. They've only been here for 3. And the first 2 years, you can totally discount. They're just now, starting to build familiar bonds with their siblings, with their extended family, like Shelley was saying, with the people who live in their community. Kids should not go to school until they're 5, maybe 6 years old. And I'm not saying that because, I think the parents should stop working and stay home and educate their children, but families need to be stronger, right? And the way that we make our family strong is by building a bond. And you can't do that if Miss Rachel is the most important person in your child's life. You can't.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I agree. I agree there. I mean, you guys, I mean, I'm a little different with that. I don't think that I agree with you where you're saying that the family unit should be the number one influence in a child's life, is particularly actually all the way up, honestly. But when we're starting out 3 years old, but I do think our education system, not so much education system, but the way we think about young people, young children, I do think it does need to be a little more, I'm not going to say structured, but intentional. I do. Maybe not in a classroom setting, but I do think that our young kids need to start earlier than what a lot of the West does. I do. Because again, when you do, when I'm saying, I mean, start learning, structure and just order and like I said, implementing exercise and also learning numbers and things like that, because children are so impressionable, and there is a window there where if you do start them early learning, that can impact them for the rest of their lives. Now, I'm not talking about like army style, like like you mentioned, all day, but I do think we in the West I do think there is room for us to be a little bit more intentional when kids are that young. I do.
I don't know exactly what you're saying. I don't know exactly what you're saying. I'm not going to say I agree or disagree, but keep in mind that in our early 20th century, the USA, we were ahead of China academically, technologically, we were. So it's interesting that as our universities and our schools, K through 12, have become more communist, now we're saying we need to make them do like the communists did, but we are getting the result of this communist takeover, if you will, of our education system. So it's not that we have never been, when we were not so communistic, we were ahead. Because we had that, if you want to call it balance, whatever your case may be. That's one thing. And then number two, I think a lot of people poo-poo, if you will, what we call education of young people. And I'm let's say toddlers, right? A toddler's brain is learning all day long for the most part. So even if they don't have a 9-to-5 classroom, which which is horrendous, if you
right.
will.
No, I wouldn't say 9 to 5. No.
I'm just saying, but if they don't have that, they are still learning, like you said, colors, plate, all that. That is what they are learning. I don't know how much more rigid a 3-year-old has to be. I mean,
I'm not talking about, what I think you said, Nicole. Okay. I'm not talking about turning on the TV or giving them some type of tablet. I'm talking about being intentional with like colors and regimenting the day, in the beginning, just that's all I'm talking about. I do think we can be a little bit more intentional there. But let's get back to this because we got a lot to cover here. And do we have some super chatters? Do we get all?
I think we do. Okay. Yes, we have Blanca.
Talk about teachers.
Perfect opportunity for us or us to offer alternatives. Thank you, Blanca.
Thank you.
We have Tam G again. Thank you for your $5. I am doing a video about biblical American history and female help. Okay, good luck.
Okay,
Keep
yeah.
going at it. Thank you.
Excellent.
And Tam G again, she gives
Wow.
us 5
Thank you,
memberships.
Tam.
Thank you, Tam G. You are on
Thank
a roll
you.
tonight. Thank you, woman. Thank you, lady.
Yes, indeed. All right. Well, talking about these teachers.
I'm sorry, we have one more.
Okay.
Who's that? Emma?
We got one more, Emma.
Emma. Thank you, Emma, for your $2 super chat.
Thank you,
Yes.
Emma. Thank you.
All right. Thank you all so much. This really helps it, keep us online. It helps to, just get the word out. And again, as you come in, hit that like button. We want this video to reach more and more people. And so when you hit the like button, it tells YouTube to push our video out to a wider audience. All right. So let's talk about these teachers. Okay. Take a look at this next clip where a teacher is talking about the day, May Day, and how she's telling the students to protest. This is clip 6.
With immigration being so close to our school in the fall and just like tear gas being thrown right over there, I think it's a really cool way for us to show our students that they can take their power back and feel empowered for the day. My name is Maria Hebner. I'm a first grade teacher at Funston Elementary School. Palenque LSNA is planning a march and rally at the Logan Square Centennial Monument next Friday, May 1st at 10 a.m. We are organizing our school so that the K through 6 students are also going to be able to march. We're going to be doing sign making, art projects, maybe a banner build with the students. And my students are learning This Land Is Your Land. They're going to sing that along the way and some other chants. Our 7th and 8th graders are going to be going on a field trip downtown to the Union Park rally at 1 o'clock. It's really important that we build our power as workers. I'm excited to share that with my students so they can see workers building their own power and they can feel empowered themselves. I want to see you there at May Day, 10 a.m. at Logan Square Monument or 1 p.m. at Union Park. Be there or be square.
This is a teacher. This is who is in the classrooms with these children. And she taught, what she say, first grade? You having the kids march, protest in first grade? Come on, Shelly.
You heard her talk about it.
Can I beat her? Just want to beat her. I just want to beat her down. First of all, her voice is annoying. Okay, number one. And it just gets on my nerves, number one. Number two, she has these young people, these first graders making signs. That's free labor. That's free labor. Maybe if hopefully their parents or somebody could teach them, wait a minute, woman, this ain't schoolwork. You got to pay me for this, okay? That's what we call capitalism, all right? You didn't get no free labor, free workers of the world unite out of me. That's what one of them first graders should tell her. This is so exploitative. It's demeaning. It is just usurping. It's just using these students and their energy, their creativity, if you will, all for the teachers union. This is what they're doing. They are exploiting these children.
They're raising up their next generation of the next generation army. That's what they're doing.
That's exactly what they're doing. And you heard her say it. The workers take back their power. That's what she's teaching your 6-year-old. Wow. Your 6-year-old.
I would be so upset. I would be so upset. It's not right. And the crazy thing about this is, I'm not excusing it. It would be one thing if these children were just brilliant. I mean, where we had a generation of just extraordinary kids who, were firing on all cylinders on math, on reading, writing, just outstanding students, but they're not. They're not. They're far beyond that. They're failing. These students, many of them cannot read, cannot write, cannot do math. Take a look at this next clip. This is clip 7.
So yesterday I came to the realization my students can't read. That is the tragic truth. That's not good. Sorry.
Wait, I want to say something. What is it with these teachers when they're giving these videos? They got to put on their lipstick. They got to eat. What is it with that? It's annoying.
I don't like dry feeling lips. That's me, but You don't see me eating on camera, though.
Maybe it's her break time. Maybe she's just trying to hurry up and do a TikTok during her break. I'll give her that little benefit of the doubt.
All right, here we go.
Somebody bought her.
That is a tragic truth. And I struggle with being told that I have to focus on certain standards on grade level text when my kids are not reading grade level. And I just don't really know how to navigate that. Like, I see they're struggling. They're not going to read because they don't understand what they're reading. You're going to give them a test with a text on it that they don't understand. So they're not going to attempt it because then that makes them feel a specific type of way. They don't want to struggle. And I get that. I do. But at the same time, they're not going to get better.
Read the index card for me.
She wore a suit, clothes that were... Who's this for? Extraordinary, but somewhat Gertrude?
Now explain what that means.
I don't know.
She wore a sahalat of clothes that were extraordinary, whatever, bro, but somewhat gooch.
What does that mean?
She wore a lot. Wait, she wore, bro, I don't know, bro. Can you take the card back, please?
She wore a... Oh, baby. She wore a silhouette of clothes that were... Bitch, I don't know that word. I don't even know how to read. I don't know why I did.
She wore a silhouette of clothes.
Wow. All right. So for you all who could not see the card, it said she wore a silhouette of clothes that were extraordinary but somewhat gauche. Why? They looked like they were high schoolers.
They did.
Shelly, I mean, what's going on? But they're supposed to miss a day of school, multiple days, because here in Maryland, just a couple weeks ago, they were protesting something else. I think it was ICE, and they had the kids do a walkout.
Yeah. Not only did they miss the schools most recently, obviously these young people, these high schoolers, were not taught phonics in grade school. Okay, they couldn't even sound out the words and the letters. They couldn't sound out the vowels and the consonants to put the sentence together, the words together, no less. They were not able to do that. That was long ago. So they have been passed through and through, graded up, upgraded, and they cannot read, let alone comprehend. I mean, I don't understand.
And speaking of comprehension, if I could jump in, do you understand what the sentence said?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. It means basically she wore sort of a thin or like a whiff of clothing. Gauche means tacky. Extraordinary means that it was so, it was extraordinary in an unremarkable way. Sort of like, it was like, oh my gosh, like, wow, that was so tacky, basically. Okay. Yes, I understood what it meant. But amazing. They have not been able to read for a long time, and their teachers and their parents, okay, I'm not going to leave out the parents, have been allowing them to keep passing through.
This is sad. I mean, it was hard to watch for me for the first time. Nicole, what are your thoughts?
I cannot. And let me tell you why. Struggling with the word silhouette.
Mm-hmm.
Struggling with the word extraordinary. Now, gauche, I could see.
I can see that.
Right,
Yeah.
I could see gauche.
Right.
Because clearly these children don't read books. They don't read novels. And rather than try, they give up.
Yeah.
What he said, I can't read this, bro. Yeah, I'm good. You're not good. You're not good. And just listening to the teacher in the clip, she says, well, they're going to quit because they're struggling. And I feel that. How do you feel that? High school has changed tremendously since I went. because we struggled from the beginning all the way through to the end. That's what made it sweet when you were able to walk away with your diploma, because the struggle was officially over, at least for a couple of weeks before you went off to college and learned that all that struggle was for naught, because you were competing with kids that like this, that can't read, that cannot read. And it is sad. I would have given them that card in a picture of Lady Gaga in her meat costume. You guys remember where she wore all the lunch meat and she had ham and pork chops and stuff all over herself. Right. Read it and then look at the picture. Give them a little contextual clues. What do you think it means? What do you think it means? And they probably would have still had the same kind of quizzical look, but maybe they wouldn't have given up. Children require help. And it's okay to struggle. It's okay to not understand things, but you shouldn't quit. You should ask more questions until it makes sense to you. And this is what the teacher is unwilling to teach her students. Rather than push them, she'd rather quit. I'm not going to see them struggle. I feel them that they don't want to struggle. Bullshit. Bullshit. If your kid is not being challenged at school, you should pull them out. I'm just going to say that. If your kid goes to school and the hardest thing they struggle with is PE, they're not being challenged enough. We're not pushing the envelope enough. Soon enough, these kids are going to be out in the work world, and someone's going to shove a form in front of them that they cannot read or understand. Then what?
And then you have, and what I've encountered is then on the opposite side, you have some of these teachers who, because a student is Black, they feel like they are supposed to, it's okay that they don't know these things. They make all they didn't eat breakfast this morning. They have all this stuff going on at home. So they aren't challenged. They don't challenge them. If you do have a student that's bright, that understands these types of things, they just let them take the easy way out. For the, what was it? Low expectations, or the
soft bigotry of low expectations.
Yeah, the soft bigotry of low expectations. Exactly. That's what we see. I see that as well. But these students like that, who are not reading, not writing, not comprehending, they turn into the juvenile delinquents, or not even juvenile delinquents, the criminals of tomorrow, unfortunately, because somewhat what the teacher said, they get frustrated and it turns into envy of other people because they didn't learn, they don't know what they're doing. And so instead, they don't know how to communicate either. And so instead of learning, they've passed all that. Now they're adults and they turn to a life of crime. That's
what's left. And it's so frustrating. If children are not reading by third grade,
right?
The data shows, that stats show that they will be less likely to learn and to comprehend in their upper grades, but yet we are passing them along. This is, I know we're about to end this segment, but I want to end on a positive note. I want to give some shout outs to some really good teachers that I can name. Miss Kilgore, Miss Beverly, Miss Johnson, Mr. Pony, Miss Van Busker, Mr. Pelham, Mr. Nadrowski, Mr. Muir. We had Dr. Stanley, Dr. Garcia, all these people up through my from kindergarten to college, the people I just named, and many more. But these are people who I can still remember their names. Now, I don't even know most of their first names, okay? I just know Mr. and Dr. and Miss so-and-so. But these are the people who taught, who the expectation, this was the expectation. You're going to learn. You're going to read. There was no question. Do you want to read? Are you struggling? Do you feel? No, you're going to learn. That was the expectation. And by and large, most of my classmates and I from K through 12, we met that expectation.
Yeah. But now we have a bunch of activist teachers who feel as though it's more important to send a child out to protest than to teach them how to read and write.
They teach them emotion.
Right.
Because emotion is how they keep their votes, right? Because again, all of this is political. When you have a electorate that can't read with comprehension, you have your hand on the pulse of America. They will do anything that you tell them to do if you can make them feel enough. The teacher said it herself. She didn't want them to feel some kind of way. I'm telling you, if you go to school and you don't feel some kind of way, they're doing it wrong. They're absolutely doing it wrong. It's supposed to be challenging. Where there is no struggle, there is no progress. Frederick Douglass said that in 1850. Things haven't changed. When I learn new things, I have been struggling to speak Spanish since I was 11. I work in a heavily Hispanic area. Heavily. I went to the bakery today to buy a birthday cake for my boss, right? So I went to the Caribbean because they got ginger cake, and yeah, right. Well, they were all sold out of ginger cake. So I ended up going to the bakery in the barrio. I walk in, they all stop what they're doing and turn around and look at me. I said, okay, I'm here for a birthday cake. So they're talking to me in Spanish. And I was like, no, I don't want any of that. I just want a birthday cake. And what she was saying to me was, do you want me to write happy birthday on the cake? So I had to call one of my staff members on the phone so she could translate between me and this woman. And she's telling the woman, oh, she's very nice. No, she's not being rude. She's very nice. She's buying a birthday cake for someone on the staff. So they present this beautiful cake and they wrote Feliz Cumpleaños, Dr. Eric on it. I said, no, he speaks English.
Oh my God.
Happy birthday. But did we eat the cake? We did. We ate the Feliz and the Cumpleaños. Listen, I've been struggling with it, but I won't give up. My Pennsylvania won't let me have it easy, but I'm not going to give up. And it makes my patients laugh. It makes people in the community laugh when they see me struggling with it, but they help me. They push me and say, oh, you're going to get better. You just have to practice more. I could throw my hands up and say, this is an English only office. I'm the one who writes the policy. No other language but English. We speak about 17 languages in my office. I am the only natural born American person who works in my office. I'm the only person who only speaks one language. You have to push yourself forward. And if they don't learn how to do that when they're in school, the chances of them building a better life as an adult is going to be very difficult. Very, very difficult. We're setting them up for failure.
We have some super chats here. Tam G is back. Okay, thank you for your $5. I was a teacher and this is crazy. Absolutely very crazy. Thank you, Tam G, for your $5 super chat. Also, we have Paul. Hi, Paul. Thank you for your super chat, Paul. Good to see you. Just supporting my favorite show. Salute to you, ladies. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
All right, we have Kung Fu CJ again. Thank you for your $2 super chat. Hooked on phonics. Please bring it back. Absolutely. Talking to Michelle. Thank you for your $2. I homeschool for a reason. Absolutely. Thank you. Tam G is back again. Thank you for your $5 super chat. Sad thing is they need to be on Hooked on Phonics. Absolutely. Absolutely. Who else do we have here? We have the voice of reason. Thank you. Super chat. He's also one of our mods. He says the silhouette is a production technique. What it means is there is light in the background to make everything else in front of it pitch black. Doesn't make sense. They wouldn't be able to see the clothing. Reason. Listen. First of all, let me have, please. A word can have more than one meaning, okay? Number one. Number two, depending on how that word is placed in whatever context, that is the meaning that applies at that time. And number three, another definition of silhouette is basically the overall shape of a woman's clothing or her body or figure and how it fits in that clothing. So in this particular context, they were talking about clothing and the clothing being tacky. So the overall shape of her item or whatever this woman was wearing, it looked tacky on her.
Yeah.
I'm trying to say, I feel you, Reason. It could be a myriad of definitions because of the way that the sentence, they didn't give these kids any contextual clues. But the truth of the matter is,
no. You all would fail. You would fail.
Not gotten it.
No.
Can we read the sentence again?
Yeah. Let me see here. You folks, y'all would fail SATs because you have to get the context of the sentence in order to define the word. It says,
can we read the sentence again, please? Go ahead.
She wore a silhouette of clothes that were extraordinary, meaning they're saying the shape, the outline of the clothing was extraordinary. Now, extraordinary meaning here, it's like, wow, it was,
right.
it was wow.
Because of the word gauche.
Somewhat gauche. Meaning that it lacked, it was awkward.
Exactly. So that's the clue for extraordinary, and the clue for silhouette was clothed. It was right there in the sentence.
I'm going to say this. Number one, that sentence needs to be grammatically corrected, because KJ, the way you're reading it, there's no comma there. It's just a list of words, right? You're reading it. Your mind is translating it so it makes sense to you, because you know what all those words mean. But if you didn't know what those words mean, especially for children who don't read those kind of words, they need some clues. They need clues. And I'm not saying you need to break it down.
That's the issue, though.
If they had put a picture of Lady Gaga in that meat costume, somebody would have made the connection, right? Someone would have made the connection. But a lot of people online argued that point. Maybe they would have got it if it was grammatically correct, because it reads like word salad. It's poorly written on the card.
Correct.
It was
grammatically correct. No, see, the problem again is what I said. They didn't have reading and comprehension in 3rd grade. By 9th grade, they shouldn't need pictures.
That's very true, but they need something. We just can't let them be dumb. At some point, we got to throw them a lifeline. But KJ, the way you read it, so when you read the first few words, when you got to silhouette, you stopped and took a breath as if there were a comma. Right?
No. It's no comma there.
I know. That's what I'm saying. There's no grammar.
I was just reading it slowly and emphasizing silhouette, because that was the point of contention. It's the sentence is she wore a silhouette of clothes that were extraordinary. Now maybe it should be a comma after extraordinary, but somewhat gauche. That's it. She wore a silhouette of clothes
at least be
that
a
were
comma
extraordinary,
after
but
extraordinary.
It didn't make a difference where the comma was. They didn't understand any of the words anyway.
I get it. But I'm just saying we should do better by our kids. If they're struggling, we need to help them. We need to help them.
Also, we do have another super chatter here.
All right, the Scrapping Beauty. Hi, Scrapping Beauty. Thank you for your $5. She says Miss Vivian was the one who cared enough to make a quiet. See, she puts to make a quiet, I'm correcting it, to make a quiet little girl find her voice. I was hurt and she made that eat her gone.
Or maybe it hurt gone.
See, Nicole, you got us.
But let me tell you, when people are typing on their little
that's fine.
Thing, anything could happen.
But let me say something real quick. Let me read this real quick. Kung Fu CJ, we need to get Nicole some translation earbuds, right, for her job.
I wear my meta glasses. I do wear my meta glasses when I'm out.
I want to shout out somebody, Susan Romero says, Miss Bowman, Westport Elementary School, Baltimore City. Susan, number 225. We went to the same elementary school. I remember Miss Bowman. I also had Miss Rosenthal and Miss Washington, if you can remember them.
Oh, that's
you in Westport Elementary, number 225. So that's crazy. We were in the same chat. Wow. All right. I just wanted to shout you out because I saw that. I was like, wow. All right. So let's move this right along. Okay. We still got yep. She said no way. Number 225. Yep. And we had some good teachers. All right, y'all. So let's keep this going. The next, so who's funding these protests? I mean, they had massive protests all over the country. Who's funding this stuff? Take a look. This is clip 3.
Fox Digital reporting some 600 groups with a combined $2 billion in revenue and part of a sprawling, quote, red-blue network are behind 3,000 demonstrations nationwide. Quote, at the center of the May Day mobilization is a network of communist, socialist, Marxist, and other far-left organizations led by chapters of the Democratic Socialist of America, and a coalition of groups including the People's Forum, the Party for Socialism and Liberation, the Answer Coalition, and Code Pink. These groups are funded in part by American-born tech tycoon Neville Roy Singham. He's now based in Shanghai, and is described as promoting Chinese Communist Party propaganda. We've told you about Neville Roy Singham many times here on this show, and he's continually a character at the center of these stories. But let's take a look at the other organization fueling today's so-called resistance over at the wall. First up, Indivisible. It is, quote, in support of workers over billionaires. That's the motto, and its organization is against this, quote, fascist clown show of a regime. Its Indivisible guide focuses on protecting family, neighbors, democracy from Trump 2.0. And it's made up of about 2,500 local chapters. It's this from Fox News Digital. Indivisible has received millions of dollars in funding over the years from billionaire George Soros, Philanthropy Network, and it has led the organizing for 3 different No Kings protests produced after Trump's inauguration to protest his administration. Now, moving on, we also have some groups that you've heard of, including Move On. It's among the first organizations to scale internet-based political organizing. It started as an online petition during the Clinton impeachment. Today, it uses these digital tactics to mobilize millions for progressive candidates and legislation. And then finally, the one we're often asked about, the Democratic Socialists of America. The Democratic Socialists of America have something like 100,000 members across 50 states and chapters. It's the largest U.S. socialist organization. Leadership, by the way, requires a maximum of 50% men and a 20% minimum of people of color. Now,
All right. I mean, it's all communists. All communists, Nicole.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts there? Were you
You know,
surprised to hear any of that?
No. Their rules about leadership kind of look like the DNC rules about their leadership. You know, you got to have a man, you got to have a woman. There's got to be a person of color. There's got to be someone who, you know, does not, quote unquote, have a gender. They make it so that it gives the appearance of diversity, but it's really not diverse because they all have the same thoughts, right? There's no diversity of thought there. What we see in these organizations is their zeal to change America for the worse, to change America into something flat, into something communist, into something that we don't recognize. And they'll spend whatever they have to spend to do it. George Soros, Roy Neville, these are men who made their money in capitalist societies, and they're trying to tear it down so none of us can make our money in the capitalist society. There's something inherently dishonest in a lot of these people who belong to this organization, because truth be told, if Trump weren't the president and we had another, if say it was Marco Rubio, they would be doing the same thing against Marco Rubio. So it's, although Trump is their target for now, it's not necessarily Trump, but what he stands for the American way, for Christianity, for the family, a strong nuclear family, for strong America. Those are all things that fly against their manifestos. When you read those organizations' leadership pamphlets, they all sound the same. They all kind of look the same because they're all being paid by the same people.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that guy that they mentioned, Neville Roy Singham, he's an American tech mogul, but he is a self-described Marxist. He lives in Shanghai. He's got deep ties to the Communist Party. And he's all throughout. He's married to one of
the lady Copink.
Right. Copink, right. So I mean, this is organized, Shelley, is it not?
Is it what? I'm sorry.
It's organized. This is all organized. I mean,
absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. People may be mistaken, but communism, if you will, Marxism has an organizational structure, and the purpose of it is to keep those. There's always somebody on top. Okay, the Roy Nevilles and the Jody, I think her name is Evans or whatever her name is, Copink lady. They want to be on top, and they want to maintain their position, so they have to work to keep everyone else dumbed down because there always needs to be a hierarchy. There is a hierarchy in Marxism, and it ain't you, okay? It's everybody else, it's them and whomever else. So notice he's a billionaire. So these people are out here fighting against billionaires, but they're not fighting against Roy. I guess Roy doesn't apply. It doesn't apply to Roy and Jody and all of them. See, they're supposed to be the ones because they are workers of the world unite. They're corralling everyone. These people are. It's sinister. It's very sinister. It's so warped. And all of these young people that the parents are allowing to be subsumed into this, you're going to reap what you sow. You're going to rue this day.
And it's all connected because here we have these leftists who are all being bankrolled by communists. And then communism is connected to the whole Nazism thing. And now we see, where was it? Is it in Maine or Michigan? Somewhere they have a Nazi, this guy who's a Nazi.
Maine.
What's his name?
Oh, it's in Maine. It's in Maine.
Maine, right. They have that candidate there that's running for office. And now all the Democrats are backing him. And he has a Nazi tattoo on him. He's a self-proclaimed Nazi.
He's got a Nazi tattoo, but I saw a clip where, believe it or not, what's her name? Abby Phillip was kind of pressing Democrats about, now, if this were a Republican and he said that he got this Nazi tattoo and it doesn't really mean anything. And her big point is this person has slammed people of color, especially Black people. It has said misogynistic things about women. Would we be so quick to turn a blind eye? And this young Democrat is sitting there going, well, we're going up against Trump. So, no holds barred. That makes no sense. Either you stand on your party platform or you do not. Who are you as a human being? Who are you? What do you stand for?
Power. That's what they don't care. This is what it's all a grift. They don't care. They do not care about inclusivity. They don't care about Black people. Okay. They only care about power and control. And how can they use stupid idiots who fall for this crap? Okay. How can they use these people to gain power and control and to maintain this power and control? And if the guy is a tattooed Nazi who has made nasty claims, racist claims about minorities and things, so be it.
Yeah, they'll do what they got to do. You hear Hassan Pikert, he's the hottest Democrat in the nation right now. Best friends with Zoran the moron. And he says America deserved 9/11.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is why we've said it before, said it once, said it again. At some point, the race, the sex is subservient or below the hierarchy. The hierarchy is maintaining the communist Marxist party, if you will. The hierarchy is the party overall. Those are other tools that they use to get there. But if you don't subscribe to the party, then your status is going to be knocked down even further. So
and listen, folks, don't think that Zoran the moron is one off. He's not. They've got a mayor out in Seattle. I think her name is Katie something or another. She's worse.
Oh, yeah.
Listen, money is Starbucks is leaving. Money is running from her city faster than she can count. And you know what she had the nerve to say? Bye. Yep. Knowing that they have probably one of the worst open air drug markets in this nation, walking downtown Seattle, you'll see used Narcan, used needles all over the place. It is not a nice place to live. Imagine it without the resources to provide clean needles and have people come out and clean the trash off the streets. When all of the money people are gone, that means the middle class has to fund their foolishness because they're not going to give up on the foolishness. They're not going to give it up.
No. And as you mentioned, I think it was you, Shelley, at the top is power and control. And that's what the most important thing to these people are. It takes us back to this, the left's worship of collectivism over individualism. And this is what America was founded on: individualism, individual freedom, liberty. Okay. And so this is why the left continues to push not just within political parties, but to the education system, to our children. They hate American prosperity. All right, folks. And so they hate the idea of free markets and things like that. And so today it's these teachers unions radicalizing our kids, talking about open borders, tax the rich. We had a video where they're talking about eat the rich, while ignoring how these policies crush the working class they claim to love. It's really sickness. It really is, folks. I hope people are waking up. This is why it's so important. Please share this broadcast, share it in a DM, share it in a text message, put it on your social media, because we got to get the word out, because we are in trouble if they get into power nationally, like on a broad scale. If the Democrats, because the Democrat Party of today is not the one of our grandparents' party, and I strongly believe if they catch hold of power in a significant way next time, oh my gosh, Biden is gonna look like Ronald Reagan. So it's a mess.
Listen, they've already got control of our school boards. That's why we have all the lunatic teachers. Most people couldn't pick out the people on their school board from a lineup. They just vote willy-nilly. If they vote on the school board, your local elected officials control most of your life, right? So you really need to pay attention to who you're electing to these positions, because if they do not espouse the same family first kind of ideals that you have, you can rest assured that your children at age 6 will be making signs in their classroom talking about worker power at 6.
Yeah, the school boards. You're right, Nicole. We got to get more involved in these local elections. We really do. And that takes us to our next topic here. So, I mean, we're talking about, this idea of just our values as a nation, as a community, as people. And one of them is life. It's in the Constitution, folks, life. And we see now that the Democrat Party has really become the pro-abortion party. This is what they have become. It's no longer safe and rare. Now it's on demand. Well, there was a prestigious doctor at a congressional hearing recently, who asked a very important question to these pro-abortion politicians. Take a look. This is clip 4.
My name is Dr. Monique Wilbenhorst. I am a practicing board-certified OBGYN with more than 30 years' experience in patient care, teaching, research, health policy, and global health. I'd like to begin by noting that the Dobbs decision presents an opportunity to mitigate abortion's many harms to women, unborn children, families, and community. Abortion not only poses risks to the mother, it is also, by definition, always lethal to an embryo or fetus, an unborn child who is a human being, a member of the human family. Not a clump of cells or a potential child, but a child assuming the human form. Abortion's goal is to kill that human being. It neither treats, palliates, or prevents any disease, and is therefore not health care. This is reinforced by the fact that the majority of OBGYNs do not perform abortions. Studies show that the percentage that do is declining and has been for decades, from a high of 40% in 1985 to between 7 and 24% at present. Given this, abortion cannot be considered essential health care for women, and if abortion is health care, my question is, what disease are you treating?
What disease are you treating? Had never heard someone ask that question about abortion. And I didn't know that. I guess I kind of knew, but I've never heard that statistic that most OBGYNs do not do abortion.
Right.
What are your thoughts there, Nicole?
Most don't. Most OBGYNs are, baby deliverers. This is what they do. They want healthy, happy, bouncy babies and healthy, happy moms before and after the maternity period. The thing that most people don't understand about American medicine is that most doctors are in it for all of the right reasons. Most of them. They love people. They are some of the most gregarious people you might ever want to meet. Sometimes it makes me unhappy how they spend too much time in a room trying to build rapport with a patient, and I got like 8 other patients for them to see. Like, come on, stop talking to her about her grandchildren. Let's go, right? It makes me crazy to think that somewhere in the back of our heads, probably left over from the 80s, when I think it was Bill Clinton who was saying that, or it might have been Hillary, that was saying abortion should be safe, legal, and rare. You know,
Mhm.
that was the mantra that they used over and over again. And now it's on demand. You can, you know, buy your abortion pills at a CVS and all these things. But most doctors, even if you do have the AB, they still want to see you and make sure you're okay. They're people. They really do love people. So you won't see many OBGYNs practicing abortion services. Most communities, when you get abortion services, usually happens at a Planned Parenthood place or a private abortion clinic. So
Yeah. Yeah. Shelley, what are your thoughts there on that that lady's disposition?
Yeah.
That
So
position.
I have to say that when I was a volunteer at a crisis pregnancy center, that actual we would say things like that to the moms, you know, the women coming in, primarily women. And so I remember talking to one lady and another counselor, and I was talking to this one lady, and we kind of asked her a similar question, like, who told you something was wrong, or you know, how do you come to see your pregnancy as something to be treated, if you will, or something needing to be treated? And she didn't know. And so I was looking, when I heard that lady today, I just did a little bit of digging in that. If you think about it, around the turn of the century, I think it said around the turn of the century, pregnancy went from being something natural and normal to something that needed to be treated, a condition that needed to be treated. So it was a mindset shift. Okay. Now, in some ways, of course, they did it for mortality. They wanted to reduce mortality, reduce morbidity. Of course, some women who are, you know, they may need some help, some medical help during their pregnancy. So those were some of the good reasons. But along with that mind shift came the idea, we call it the sick role in the hospital. And basically what that means is you can go to the hospital and maybe you're going, let's just say you broke your arm or whatever. You're going to have your arm set, right? But the very fact that you're in the hospital, most people subconsciously say, oh, the hospital's for sick people, so I must be sick. Okay. So it's a subconscious thing. Many people in the clinical setting see it all the time, to the point where people who can do for themselves because they're in the hospital, oh, they can't do anything now. They need to have you do this, and they want the nurse and the doctor to do this, and they need a pill for this. Well, no, you can really do all this. While I'm in the hospital, y'all supposed to do this, but you're not sick. Okay. So there's a whole mindset and a shift that I think also happened subconsciously that undergirds that idea that something is wrong because we're pregnant.
That's a good point. It's a
Some
very
people
good point.
look at it like a disability, right? So if you're in the hospital, you automatically in your brain assume that there's something wrong, that you're disabled in some kind of way. And 99.9% of the time, nothing's further from the truth. If we treat you in the ER and send you up on the floor, you're usually just going to be there for observation. It's keeping eyes on you to make sure the Band-Aid we put on stuck, you know. But in your mind, because you're away from home and you have this around the clock care, your mind thinks that you're disabled. And a lot of people, I would probably say, Shelley, your timing is right. When pregnancy went from, like, for example, Caroline Levitt, worked right up to her 39th week, worked right on up. And women were like, oh, it's extraordinary. She's a superwoman. She should have been out 12 weeks ago. She could probably come into work today. She could probably walk right into work and sit down and do her job. But again, our modern mindset is that it's some sort of disability. And again, it just comes from the hospital stay. I don't know why that is, but it just is. It's just
Well, let me ask you ladies this then. Do you look at this, at the mindset change, as a regression or a progression? Because we know our grandparents and our great grandparents, as you mentioned, Nicole, when they found out they were pregnant, one, it generally was a joyous thing, but it was just like, okay, let me get in here and do the laundry. And they were working. I mean, they were outside on the board, washing clothes and stuff like that. You know, they just kept on about their day and working. So it was like a natural part of life. Like you mentioned, it was just like, okay, this is part of, this is something that happens all to every women, you know, but now it's seen as is sort of, well, as Democrats like to say, they have a parasite. You know, babies are like a parasite. It's a parasitical relationship. So what do you think that thinking, that change, is this more of a regression or a progression?
It's warped. It's a warping of the natural mind, if you will, the natural instincts of women in particular, the natural instincts of that this is a transition of a different transition of life, or a different generation to transmit life to. It's just warped. It's a warping. Again, there are good reasons, if you will, for medical care during pregnancy. Again, mortality, morbidity. Some people need medical care, things like that. There are some pregnancies are a little more high risk than others. So you do need that oversight, if you will. But by and large, that mindset, that mind shift has done more damage than good.
Yeah. Well, folks, we still have, these babies are not parasites. They are not burdens or roadblocks for our careers. They're babies. They're our babies. And so take a look at this. Talk about healthcare, real healthcare, not talking about abortion is healthcare. Delivering babies is healthcare. Take a look at this next clip. This is clip 5. So what we have here, can someone explain what happened? What happened here?
So it looked like a newborn,
right? Newborn,
maybe a C-section, but apparently he's having some respiratory distress.
They're going to stimulate him a little bit.
On him?
It's the amniotic sac.
This is what the baby looks like before they wash him off and bring him to you, KJ.
Right. They couldn't wash his baby off, of course, because
he's having respiratory distress. So they're giving him some oxygen. They're trying to stimulate him.
Oh my gosh, poor little buddy.
No, he's coming around.
Yeah.
Keep in mind that in a baby, in utero, the lungs take the longest to develop. So you want the lungs to be as developed as possible before delivery.
There you go.
There he is. And look how calm the doctor is.
That's excellent. Look how his color's coming back in.
Oh yeah.
And you can see his little chest rise and fall.
But it's not consistent right now.
No, he's watching. Enough. He's counting them respirations.
Oh my God.
There you go. There you go.
And if you notice how he's still giving him a little bit of privacy for his little private parts. I think it's a boy. I don't know, but
it looks like a boy.
Yeah, it does. That's what's so
He's not there yet. He's still working on him.
He's still fighting it.
He needs to be able to have full breaths on his own.
Oh.
So now he's coming through. Look at his color coming in more.
That's
what you want to hear. That's what you want to hear.
He's coming.
He's coming. He's doing it. Look at his chest. He's stretching. He's doing his little reflexes. His little reflexes.
He is totally irritated at this point.
Yeah, and that's what you want, right? That's
exactly.
That's what you want. So right now he's doing his APGAR. He's doing his APGAR test. He's doing all his reflexes and his movement, and he's testing. So he's doing all of that, and that's what you want.
So
look how he gives us little privacy.
There you go. That's enough to make you mad.
That's what you want. That's what you want. That's what you want.
Yeah.
Oh.
He's alive.
The most beautiful.
Hello world. I'm here.
No more sleep now.
Yeah. He was like, I was nice and warm, minding my business. What is this foolishness?
That brought tears to my eyes. That brought tears.
That's healthcare, though. What that doctor was doing.
Yeah.
And
that's healthcare.
That happens around this nation on a regular basis. And note how calm he is. There's nobody screaming. What's funny is I like to when I do watch TV, I don't watch a lot. When I watch those like little doctor shows where you see people running around like lunatics up and down the hallway, there is no running in healthcare. We do not permit that. There's a 40-page OSHA booklet that prohibits you from acting a fool. Yes, healthcare
is organized chaos.
It is regulated to no end. Healthcare is regulated down to the color ink that you use when you're printing a document. It's very regulated, but it has to be because the dance to save someone's life requires a lot of moving parts. So everybody's got to stay on their own path for the thing to work. Think of it as like a wheel, right? So all the spokes have got to stay in their spot in order for the wheel to spin. So this doctor was not shaking at all. He was like, oh, no, I got it. We're just going to stimulate him, give him a little air, make him angry.
Thankful for him. Thankful for that doctor. We wanted to end on a good note, folks. And that what's more positive, powerful than bringing, helping a newborn into life. So that was beautiful. Before we go, though, there has been breaking news since we've been on here, folks. Take a look at this. President Trump is making an announcement.
Good job. An architect who's really talented. He's done a lot of work for him. He's got a flair, a beautiful Hispanic flair in particular. And he comes from originally a place called Cuba, which we will be taking over almost immediately. No, Cuba's got problems. We'll finish one first. I like to finish a job. On the way back from Iran, we'll have one of our big, maybe the USS Abraham Lincoln aircraft carrier, the biggest in the world. We'll have that come in, stop about 100 yards offshore, and they'll say, thank you very much. We give up. Good job.
So he's basically saying he made news tonight saying that we are going to be taking over Cuba. Do you guys, you think that's what it is, ladies? I mean, Nicole?
Cuba's been on the table for a very long time. Cuba was on the table before Venezuela. Venezuela, needed immediate attention. In Cuba, people are starving, and there's no energy, there's no oil, and life was already tough for them. And I know Marco has been working behind the scenes with Fidel Castro's grandson to make an easier transition. But yeah, the Western Hemisphere has got to get itself together. When our old alliances no longer help or hold, we have to build new ones, and we have to shore up the homeland. And for us, for the United States, the homeland is not just our United States, it is the entirety of the Western Hemisphere. You don't want smoke, don't bring it to our land. We need to get all of these nations standing on their feet. And I think it's going to be wonderful, especially for the Cuban people.
All right. Shelley, your thoughts on this? If this is correct, accurate?
I have zero thoughts right now. I'm laughing at President Trump right now. I'm gonna wait. What's the day? Friday. I guess we'll find out tomorrow on Truth Social. So
All right, folks, that does it for us tonight. We'll be back on Monday night at 9 p.m. In the meantime, catch Just the Guys broadcast tomorrow night at 6:30 p.m. You can catch Just the Guys broadcast. They'll be on tomorrow at 6:30, bringing you the latest in news and pop culture from a male perspective. All right, so check them out on their YouTube channel. That's Just the Guys podcast on YouTube. And then on Sunday, you can catch me and Michelle. We are back on at KJ Christian Conservative on the YouTube channel, where we provide a biblical perspective on news and pop culture. That's at KJ Christian Conservative every Sunday night at 9 p.m., Sunday and Thursday. All right, so we will catch you. We got a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about Candace Owens and the latest with Erica Kirk, all this stuff, the defamation lawsuit against her. Oh my gosh, we got a lot to talk about. So catch us on Sunday night. All
we
right,
got
folks.
two super
So,
chatters here before we go.
oh yeah, go ahead. Mhm.
All right, they have Tam. Tam G again. We have $5. Thank you. She
Oh,
says,
thank you.
quoting Chris Rock from Rush Hour. Do you understand the words coming out of my mouth? Talking about the school children reading that sentence. Thank you, Tam G, so much for your super chats tonight. And we also have Justin. Thank you, Justin, again for your $2. Can we see the baby video again, please? Maybe we can play it on the way out. We can play it on the way out, maybe.
Yeah,
Producer, get that back up again. Thank you all. Like KJ said, thank you all. Don't forget our website, www.metroconservativemedia.com, where you can shop. You can get all the information for all the platforms. And there's more there. You have some people writing articles, some links to other important information. So go there and make yourself right at home.
I think we got another super chat.
Oh, we have another super chat from Tam G again. Thank you for your $20 super chat. The cry of a newborn baby is awesome.
Yes, it is.
Yep. You will never sleep soundly again.
No.
Oh yeah. All right. That does it for us tonight, folks. Again, thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to share. And if you didn't do so already, hit that like button. We love you. We'll see you on Monday. Until next time, count your blessings and live a life of purpose. Good night.
Bye.